Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Today we're making something super fun. I've made a few backpacks in the past, but don't love them. So today we're gonna prototype one. It won't be like a final production style backpack. We're gonna have some fun with it, but I have some cool ideas for some G-hooks and hidden closures for a really sleek kind of minimal backpack. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna be using Horween English tan, some antique hardware. So we're gonna jump right in. I'm gonna talk you through it, kind of what I'm thinking as I kind of design as I go. Okay guys, so this might seem like I'm cheating a little bit, but it's actually a really cool way to design. So we have a bunch of dies made for some of our existing products, like the standard issue 13. This is one of the pieces for the standard issue 13. If you just roll it over, you can see, if you know what that bag looks like, it's a messenger bag. So this is the flap. But when you can, if you already have these available to you, see if you can reuse those shapes to make new things. So that's what we're doing. I've made a backpack out of this panel before. So it's basically gonna be this panel plus another one, and then some pockets and a gusset. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of block out where I'm gonna cut. The die I have for this, it's bigger than my clicker press, and that makes it really hard to work with a big piece of leather because I have to turn the thing. So anyways, we pre-cut a little bit to make it easier to work over there, and we did make sure we have enough room on the side for the gusset. This is gonna take about a full side of leather, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into that. So I'm just loosely cutting around these shapes, giving myself enough margin so that I have enough leather. This is just a prototype, so I'm gonna leave some of the natural markings that I might avoid otherwise. I'm actually gonna start selling these prototypes. I'm gonna put the link in the description to buy this exact bag, like the one I'm making right now. Then I need a gusset. Looks like I already cut a straight line there once upon a time. And this is gonna be about 4 inches. It doesn't actually matter. I just gotta make sure it's even all the way down. I eyeball a lot. I think it's an important skill to learn in leathercraft is how to center a hole without getting out your calipers and if you look at most of the straps that I make, I'm eyeballing all the center holes and all that. And no one's ever said they're not in the middle. It's like anything, it just takes practice. And whenever I'm making gussets for a new bag, and I've never made it before, instead of trying to do a bunch of math, I literally just stitch one side on and then I cut it to length. And then I go back and measure if I'm gonna reproduce it. It's just easier. There's a way to do gussets where you can get really close. It's you measure the whole edge and you add an inch, but sometimes it just doesn't work out because your leather's thicker, and so it's you'll have a different gusset length using 3-ounce leather versus 7-ounce. You can have the exact same length gusset and it won't work because when you go around turns with thicker leather, it just doesn't, it's not the same distance, right? So anyway, gussets are annoying. Okay, clicker die. This is the die I was talking about. As you can see, it's bigger than my clicker bed. I wanted to get a big hydraulic press, but they wanted $3 grand to ship it to Hawaii. So that didn't make sense. But anyway, this is how I do it. I just do one side at a time. It's kind of finicky, but it works. Use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. It's an old pioneer saying. This clicker press has done well over 50,000 cuts. I only know that because of all the everything we've sold. It's one panel for our backpack. Okay, so those are main body is done, and we'll get. We're gonna use this other standard issue panel for a laptop sleeve and a pocket. Actually, you know what? This might fit my actual laptop sleeve die. Oh yeah, that works. We'll just use the real one. laptop sleeve. All right, so we got a front pocket, laptop sleeve. If I were to make a backpack with everything I wanted, I'd probably add some like side pockets for like water bottles and stuff. Not that hard, but just don't know if we have like time in like one YouTube shoot to do that. So we got the main pieces cut out. I need to do some strapping. Yeah, so I might do padded shoulder straps in the future. I don't have thin enough foam. The foam I have makes it just like too bulky, but that's something I can add later. Honestly, like if the shoulder straps are wide enough, they're really comfortable, but padding would be nice. But for this shape, I just pulled this shape off of my filmer slash editor slash do everything homie, his backpack. So I just wanted to like basic idea of like this curve shape. I'll refine it in the future. So I'm gonna cut out 4 of these because I'm actually gonna double up this strap and do it like stitched together, which I don't wanna do. I prefer to scratch all over a silver pen because the line is much more precise. So we got 2 this way, and then I gotta flip it over, do the other way. I need a little bit of strapping too. I'm gonna do a lot of like 1-inch strapping because I have 1-inch buckles and G-hooks for like the closure. Okay, so the closure system for this, I don't even know like what I'm gonna do for the top flap, like where I'm gonna attach it. I think I have an idea, but I don't want it to look too much like a lunch sack. Anyways, be cool if you could like see what's in my brain. If I were an artist, I would just like draw it for you, but I'm not an artist anymore. So the idea is, if you can imagine this flaps over, then it's gonna have this strap that's gonna like weave in and out on the main body. And then the main flap is gonna have one of these G-hooks that's gonna slot in to those, so it'll be adjustable. And this will be like riveted in top and bottom and then woven through. But I'm gonna have it going inside of a pocket, so you're really not gonna see it. And I want the flap to go inside the front pocket just barely and then lock in. So on the front of the bag, you don't see like any hardware, ideally. We're gonna cut out the woven pattern here, like the slot punches, and then I'm gonna measure a couple spots here. I wanna put a couple snaps so I can cinch down the gusset, like adjustable. I think I'm just gonna do some snaps. I don't know how much people will use them, but I just like the idea of being able to like cinch the gusset down and then close the bag like that. So, because I don't wanna use a zipper, because I don't have any zippers right now. So that's one reason I wanna use a zipper. And also zippers break. So when I can avoid them, I will. But I've made like duffel bags and stuff, as you guys have seen. And they turn out great. And I use nice Swiss zippers that are super expensive. But they still might break. That nylon and stuff, it's not like leather. So anyways, we're gonna punch out these. Yeah, so we're gonna be making a belt that uses this like woven system. So it's like a mechanic's belt, so keep your eye out for that. The point of a mechanic's belt is it removes the buckle from right in front of you, so that if you're like leaning over the hood of a car, or like you're a photographer and you don't want your belt buckle scratching your like lenses or like your camera body, that buckle is, or that style of belt is super useful, and it looks cool. And we're gonna have like this modular system where you can attach a bunch of like cool EDC items to it. You can tell when I'm prototyping, it's kind of winged. All right, so next step is to transfer some of these markings onto the different pieces. The rivet holes, and then I also want some buttons here on the front. So there's the front, and then on the back we need markings for, let's see. When you make the bag inside out, sometimes you're confused about like where to mark stuff. So I'm just marking out where the shoulder straps are going. So now I should cut out the shoulder straps. So I'm just gonna do a quick glue up of these straps. I'm gonna layer them up. This will be the only like layered strapping on this bag. I'm using a Renya Aquilium. And I have just a little piece of paper down just so I don't get my table all sticky. I used chemical-based, you know, contact cement for years and years and years. And then I finally switched over to this stuff and I love it. When you're gluing, you always want to push the glue towards the edge. Never go like this, because then it just like goops up on the edge. So I always want to push away. Sorry, push out. Start in the middle and press out. All right, while that sets up, I'm going to punch out these holes. So here's my strap. So I'm going to weave it through right now, and then I'll cut it to length. Okay, so that's like the adjustment system. So you essentially have, oh, I have to go one more. Should have counted. It's because it's got to finish inside the bag, so. That's why we prototype. That, okay. So then, and then this pocket is gonna cover this up like this. And then the idea is the flap's gonna go in there, and then we grab one of these G hooks, and it'll be on the flap and it'll be hidden. Ugh. I have an idea for this to make this easier. But yeah, just like that. It's gonna lock in like that. That's gonna close it. So ideally, I mean, these are kind of useless if you want it to be hidden. And it could go lower if you wanted it tighter. But this is why we're gonna cut the flap after, because I wanna be able to like measure exactly how far. It's just hard to calculate like how much fold over you're gonna have. But that's the idea. I think that's kind of sick. And to make this a little easier to access, and once you start using it, I just wanna like give them like a little bit, like raise them up just a bit. Kind of like that, and that just like it kind of looks cooler. So now that I'm there, I can just punch, and I know I'll go through both layers so that I can just rivet it on and then trim it. All right, I'll just rivet it on now, and then I'll cut it off with some scissors. I like that. It's like a little different. I mean, obviously stuff like this has been done before. We want to do the laptop sleeve, but we're going to do reverse seams, and I've noticed that when you stitch a laptop sleeve into a reverse seam, when you turn it inside out, it creates a really big gap. It's not taut. So we're going to go vertical with the laptop sleeve because it makes more sense for a backpack that way, and it allows you to have like really big laptops. So we're going to cut this down a little bit and then stitch it into the bag separately from the actual like gusset. Just talking through the design process. I cut this is gonna be the flap. I cut it extra long because once it's stitched in, then I'm gonna cut it to size. And I just wanted to make sure I had plenty of length. And then I'll stitch in, I kind of have an idea for the front because I don't want like a rivet on the front for the G-hook. So I'm gonna stitch it into a seam right here. And then I might make this like a secret zipper pocket inside the flap for like some everyday stuff. We're gonna go ahead and stitch these because these need to go inside the next step of stitching. These will have to be like trimmed up because they're not gonna be exactly perfect. All right, before I stitch these up, I'm taking them to the sander and get the edges super clean. I always try and start my stitch run somewhere that will be hidden. So like this is gonna be in a seam. Okay, So next, I think I want to try and attach the flap to the back panel. So I got to think through this. Okay. So if you want to pan down here, I'll kind of explain this. So this is the back of the bag. This is the flap. This is going to be stitched in these straps like this. I'll probably go over it I'll probably do 2 runs, make sure these are super secure. And then once the bag is done, these straps will come down like this. And then the flap will go forward. And you have a backpack. Just getting a bone folder and just marking up the leather a bit because I want to stitch from this side and I don't want to miss that back panel, so I'm going to give myself enough room. Put a few strands here. So I was just, I decided to add another pocket to the front. So I'm gonna have like a big wide pocket and then a dual pocket as well. A little bit more organization. So I need to figure out the front flap. I think it's the right length, but I have to bring it in just a bit because it's going to tuck inside this front pocket area. So just trying to figure out what kind of shape I want to go for, just like a slight taper, or keep this the same width and then just like come in at 45 degrees. I think that could look pretty cool. A lot of times I feel like 45 degrees look really good, just looks natural or whatever, just balanced, I guess. So if I'm gonna go up this way 3 inches, I wanna go in this way 3 inches to get my 45. So I think I'm gonna kind of do that and then kind of round them. If it looks terrible, then I'll change it on the next one. Pretty cool. And then obviously you can show it if you wanna like stuff the hell out of it, but yeah, I like that. Enough. All right, so now it's just kind of assembly time. Okay. I already cut it down a bit. So make a little zipper pocket, just kind of, why not? I have to add a seam to the front flap anyway to put this in because I don't want like too much hardware exposed. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a zipper pocket here. So when you open the bag and flip over the back, you'll have access to it like that. And then we'll put the G-hook right there. So yeah, like that. A little bit of space at the top. Attached it here with just some rivets, and then I can move it out of the way while I stitch it, and then it will just like be like that. That way it has some slack so you can like put it on. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So these will just be some holes. Oh well. Prototype. So yeah, this pocket serves like two purposes. You get a pocket, and this way you don't have rivets on the front, which I think looks super clean. So now I just need to mark out stitch line on this. That'll be super convenient. All right, getting close. Okay, so we're gonna put in some buttons. So here on the side, it's gonna have a gusset, but I wanna be able to like cinch it down like I mentioned. So I have a strap coming around, and it's gonna button onto the front in like 2 locations to make it adjustable. Might even do 3. Why not? So you can have tons of adjustment. How far apart are these? 1 inch. I gotta add the button strap. So I'd already measured. This should be the same height. Might just leave them long, and then I can cut them to size after the bag's made, so I can be precise. I'll just put the 1 rivet end in. Oh wait, just thinking. How did I do it on that bag? I don't think I even put them inside. Nah, I like it in the same. It's kind of annoying to stitch. So decided that the front pockets are kind of like insecure. Like it's gonna be behind you and they're like little slip pockets. It's like make it really easy for someone to just like grab your phone out, which would be bad. So we're gonna put a couple flaps on here, but I didn't want the hardware exposed. So I'm gonna do something similar to this, where I'm gonna layer it up, have the buttons just underneath, like that flap, just to make it look consistent, you know, with the rest of the bag, just not having any hardware on the front exposed. So that's what we're gonna do. We have we're gonna use a little bit thinner leather this time because this bag's getting super heavy and bulky, but I'm gonna have to measure everything out. Usually I put buttons on one side, pull the flap over and make an impression so it's like fits exactly, but we'll just have to measure. So 3.5 inches. And then the slit's gonna be right at 7 inches because this is 14 wide. And then the buttons will be at 3.5. Oh, I've done this before. You have to leave room for this seam when we stitch it on the bag. So it's gotta come in like a 1/2 inch on each side. So it needs to be 13 inches. Otherwise you'll like stitch the pocket closed. So don't wanna do that. Enough room for my seam. About like that. I put the buttons on first so they're hidden. Button got in the way a little bit right there. It's alright. It's a prototype. For real this time, final glue up. What happened here? Some glue? Whatever. It's a prototype. You should, like, if I say that a bunch, every time I say it, you should just, it's text. It's a prototype. It's a prototype. That is some thick layers. When I'm doing a gusset and cutting it after the fact, I find like the center and I start at the bottom in the middle. Trim this. Might be wondering how I'm going to do that. And we just peel it back just a little bit. Put our cutting mat in. It's good to have these little cutting mat scraps around for stuff like this. Punch through them. Cut on them. Oh, I do need a couple little straps, so such a collection of straps. I don't think I have the right colors. I'm gonna put the backpack on you to measure up the final strap length, because you're like a medium person. It's so hard to get to look clean. Usually looks so sloppy, but it's a problem of using thick leather. If I were to skive these down, they just become really weak and like prone to breaking. So I'd rather have it be like a little bit sloppy and over-engineered so it lasts longer. Good work, little buddy. That was hard. Did you guys know that you can set double cap rivets flat? You can actually do them rounded, or you can do them flat. Because it's on the back of the bag, I don't want you to feel it on your butt or whatever, or your low back. So you can actually set them flat. I just discovered that recently. I didn't know that, so. The more you know. So now this is stitched and riveted in, so it'll be super secure. It's gonna be a dope backpack. Just gonna go there and I'll probably round this off. Just make it a little rounded on the top. Come on, Texo. Oh. Oh, we got so close. Yeah. It's okay though. At least we didn't jam the machine. Because that's a much more time-consuming fix. If you're new to sewing machines, thread tension is everything. Well, tension and timing. Remember that. I think it's like right at the limit of the machine, that much bulk. You can see here, it's like 4 layers, like thick layers. So it's like 6, 12, 18, like 24 ounces essentially. I mean, that might be a little bit, might be 555, so like 20 ounces. That's just a lot of leather. Fully open and then tighter. Midway. Yeah, perfect. Hypothetically, you could add another button right behind it to make it even like tighter. Like you go crazy with the adjustment, but if I want to do that later, I will. But for now, that's how I want it. Yeah. Dang. All right. So close. Oh, scratch. I kind of like the look of flat rivets for some reason. I think they're cool. They just, I don't know, they don't look as cheap for some reason. Okay guys, a few hours later and a giant mess. And we're looking at a backpack. I like it a lot. There's some things I would change for sure. First off, forgot a handle, a little grab handle. That's like necessary for a backpack. I don't want to add it after the fact, 'cause I'm trying to avoid hardware, and I would stuff it in this seam right here. That's where I would have put it. And then here on the back, love how comfy it is. It's surprisingly comfortable. A lot of times with these like thick leather backpacks, they can get bulky and just not that comfortable, but 3 of us tried it on and we love it. And we're all very different body shapes and sizes, and it fits all of us, so that's awesome. It's got a laptop in it right now, a MacBook. That fits nicely. Up here in the front, I kind of want to like cinch this in and have a stitch and then trim it. I think that would look cool just because I kind of want it a little bit more like that. And I've seen that done in some other bags that aren't leather, but I think that would look really cool. And then here in the front, I really like how these buttons are hidden. I really like the way it opens. It's actually super easy. I would change these buttons to buckles just to make it a little bit stronger. And I also had an idea to like add a slot in right here so you could loop. So you'd have straps coming out this way, go through that loop, and then buckle over here. So you could cinch this whole thing down with those buckles as well. And it would just have like a little slot right here, which I think would still look cool. I love the hidden pocket here. You just like, you have the bag closed, you flip it open, flip it open, and you've got this for like travel documents and everything like that, just super secure. It's not on the outside of your bag where people could like unzip and grab it. So very safe, like travel pocket. And I really like how this closes, but and doesn't show any hardware. It doesn't show any buckles. Obviously I'd finish the edges on it if I was making a production version of this. And I'm gonna finish the edges anyways, but just not gonna show that. And yeah, and I might go a little bit wider on the gusset, just ever so slightly. Oh, and I'd probably double stitch everything, just to keep that consistent and just to make it stronger. Also, last thing here, I'm gonna add a couple more rivets here, maybe like 3, just to make sure this is super strong. And I might go a little thicker on this or double it up like this. Just because that's going to carry the most weight, obviously. So yeah, that's the backpack. Super fun video, prototype and stuff. And we're going to go try it out. Go get a Monster and a protein bar.